This was the last problem we did. Everyone switch on your cams. Let's start off. Okay. Let's start off with the problem. So this is what we did last time. Great. We have a beam balance. So we have, a defective beam balance. So whoever manufactured it, they didn't manufacture it properly. This is what they observed. When you keep a mass M here, this side you needed 20 kgs to balance. This can be A and B. When M is placed at A, 20 kg is placed at B to balance it. Then the same thing, but this time you kept M this side and you observed it required only 5 kg to balance. Are you getting it? See, if this was working properly now, you should have seen the same number on both the sides. Na? If it was a proper balance, you keep it left or right, the M should have been same. But if you see, you're getting one's 20 and one's 5. When M is placed at B, you're getting 5 kgs curve balance. So the question is find M ka value. So you have a defective beam balance. When you kept the weight on one side, you got 20. When you kept on the other side, you get 5 kg for the balance to be horizontal. So the question is find M. So in case even if you have a defective beam balance, you can still find the actual value using this method. Other scams on? Yeah, Rushabh, you're there. Rushabh, your mic is also off, cam is also off. Give it a try. I'll give 2-3 minutes.
But what will be the length?
It doesn't matter. Assume something, na? Assume L1, L2. Just make sure it should get cancelled out.
Sir, 10 kg.
Yeah. Let me show you. Let this be L1, L2. Let this be A. So when you kept M here, kept 20 here, the torque about A is 0. So that will be mg into L1 should be 20 g into L2. There's a torque, na? Force into perpendicular distance. The same thing. So L1, L2 won't change. This was M. This was 5. Again, torque about A is 0. 5g, L1 is mg, L2. Divide equation 1 by 2. You get mg L1 by 5g L1, 20g L2 by mg L2. L1, L2 will get cancelled, gg will get cancelled. You get m by 5 is 20 by m. M square is 100. M is 10. So this you can actually remember like a result. If this side is M and this side is M1, this side is M2, and this side is M1, M. Then M is given by root M1, M2. It's a geometric mean. So you can remember the result, it will help. Don't need to calculate the torque and stuff. So this works even for a proper beam balance also, defective beam balance also. Copied. Sunday paper, there are some corrections. There are almost 5 corrections, right? I'll give you the corrections at the end. We'll be, I'll be sending the results to sheet again in the evening. I think Publica marks will improve a lot now. But how was the paper overall? Easy. If you center of mass, most of the questions came from notes only. If you remember the results. Next one. We have a non-uniform rod where lambda is lambda not x. We have done this thing if you remember. This was done in Centromos last class. Now the catch is you kept a hinge somewhere here. Find the position of the wedge. So where should you keep the wedge so that the rod remains horizontal? Sorry. Meaning, see, if you don't keep it at a proper place, it can become like this, or it can become like this. There is one place where it will remain horizontal, flat. What is that point? You have to tell me the x coordinate of A basically. Hope the question was clear. It's a non-uniform rod. If it's a uniform rod, you have to keep it at the center. Think about it 2 minutes.
2L/3.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. See, what is the catch here? If I try to draw the FBD, how many forces are acting on the system? How many forces are acting on the system? Anyone?
2.
Only one.
Two. There are two. There's a normal reaction and there's a weight. Got it? Now, tell me one thing. If both are not on the same length, if they're like this, what will happen? The body will rotate. Huh? If you don't want the body to rotate, what should happen? Then there is only one possibility. If you don't want the body to rotate, then the mg also should pass through this point. Huh? If n and mg both are passing through the wedge, then the torque about this point would be 0. That means that should be the center of mass. Doesn't make sense. For body to remain horizontal, the torque about the hinge should be 0. For rod to be horizontal, the center of mass should be on the wedge, should be at point A. Because see, that is the only possibility when the torque is 0. If you take mg here, torque is not 0. If you take mg here, torque is not 0. If you don't want it to rotate, then the torque should be 0. Then n and mg should pass to the same point. Right? Since torque about A should be 0. Great. Then, you know how to find the center of mass. If this was x0, this was x is equal to 12, take a small piece dx. X center of mass will be integral lambda naught x dx into x. by integral lambda naught x dx. This would be 12 by 3. If you're wondering where did you get this from, you can go here. Here. This was a question. 12 by 3. This we did just before the starting torque. Same question, lambda naught x. You should know your center mass results. Clear with this thing, turning the page. Next thing. We have a T-shaped rod. This length is 12. This length is L. Exactly, it is in the middle. So let me call this point here. Y is equal to 0, and this point is y is equal to L. So you are applying force at some point here. F. So force F is applied on a uniform T-shaped rod. Be careful, lengths are not same. Uniform rod placed on a horizontal smooth table. So this is placed on a table. And let me call this thing as some y. Find y if it only translates without rotation. Meaning it is just sliding without rotation. So find y. So you have a T-shaped uniform rod placed on a horizontal smooth table, and when you applied F at a particular point, it is observed this thing simply slides. You can try this with your pen. Huh? Put a pen with the cap on the table. You try to push at the center, it will rotate. But there's a particular point on the pen. When you push there, it will just translate. It won't, go right and it will not rotate. You can try this with any body. You'll observe there's one point on the body where it will not rotate. Best thing is your pen only. Try with your pen, you will see. If you push in the center exactly with the pen cap closed, it won't. It will, rotate to the right or left a little. But if you just adjust the position, you'll observe there's one point where the pen will just keep going straight. I think by now you must have guessed what point is that. In entire physics, you learned something, special point, only one. Are those cams on? Sid, cam on. Tanay. Give it a try. I'll give it 2 minutes. Did you find out the point? What is that point? After giving this much hint, you should have guessed it.
L/2.
No. See. So if F is applied on the center of mass, T-shaped rod, it will just translate it. Because torque about center of mass will be 0 then. So remember this thing. Whenever you apply top force on a center of mass, it will just rotate. It will just only rotate, translate. Now where is the center of mass? The mistake you did in array is this. What will be the mass of the upper rod? 2m. Length double hai na? This is mass m and length L. Where is the center mass of this rod? Here. Where is the center mass of this rod? Here. So basically it is like two particles 2m, m. इसका coordinate 0,0, इसका coordinate 0,L/2. These two का center of mass will be somewhere here. So y center of mass would be 2m, 0, m, L/2 by 3m, L/6. So this distance is L/6. That's your answer. This question can be asked in center mass also. Find center mass of the system. So on the T-shaped rod, it is at a distance of L/6 from the intersection. If you apply force at this point, the rod will not rotate. So on a pen, on your pen or pencil, when you try to push it, this is how you can locate center of mass. If you push exactly on center of mass, it will just keep sliding. It will not rotate. Put it up. Copied. Fill in the which? Next one. A uniform L-shaped rod is hinged at one end. So this is ML, ML. But it doesn't stay like this. It becomes like this. You can try this thing. Normally, if you keep an L-shaped rod, it doesn't stay like this. So this is how it looks in equilibrium. So when you attack an L-shaped rod, and if you hold it at the one end, it looks like this, the L shape. The question is find theta in equilibrium. You can try this anything. Your water bottle is there. You can or anything, a bag or anything. If you catch at one edge, you'll observe your bag doesn't stand straight. It starts bending. You can try with your notebook. You try to catch it at the corner. You will see it won't be straight. It will just become like a rhombus. If you try to catch your book here, your book becomes like this. So there is some reason why that is happening. If you see this and the previous two questions, all are based on center of mass only. Think about it. I'll give you a minute or so. I'll give you 2 minutes. Let's see. What is the catch here? Again, how many forces are there? See, always start with an FBD. That is where you get always the answer. How many forces are there? Anyone?
3.
Ideally 2 forces, but I know you're taking the components also in X and Y. So yeah, if you include the components, it is 3. But hinge reaction is 1, but 3 makes sense. So we have Ny, we have Nx. Now it is in equilibrium, so torque should be 0. Can anyone tell me where should mg pass from? Can mg be here? Will the torque be 0 about the hinge? Can mg be here? The only place where mg can be is on this line. Na? If you want torque to be 0 about this point, mg should be on this line. Na? Doesn't make sense because nx and ny ka torque is anyway 0. So for equilibrium, torque about the hinge is 0. Therefore, the mg vector should pass through hinge, or else torque won't be 0. Nx, ny is 0. Mg has to pass through hinge. That is, center of mass should lie on the vertical line passing through the hinge. That means the center of mass should lie somewhere here. This much I'm sure. Now where, that's another story that we have to calculate now. Does this make sense? If the center of mass is not on this line, but anywhere else, torque won't be 0.
Sir,
Ganesh.
sir, I didn't get how's the talk about hinge is 0.
Okay. What do you think it should be?
So there are two components of the forces now.
क्या components है?
Ny or Nx.
Okay. So
torque should be in the
कितना होना चाहिए torque according to?
Sir, root Nx.
Okay. Torque का formula क्या है गणेश?
Force into R.
R कितना है यहाँ पे value?
0.
तो torque कितना है?
0.
Clear?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. Oh. Clear this thing. Next page. Put it on. You guys are still fine. Morning 7 o'clock, so you should see the PPT faces. You guys got saved this time. Next month it is your turn anyway. But chemistry class starts at 7 only, in the morning. For some of you. Nah, get used to it now. If you're just focused about sleeping extra 1 hour, na, going ahead in life will not do anything. No, I don't feel sorry for you guys. I feel sorry for your mom. You wake up at 7 means she will wake up early for you and she'll make something and giving it to you. Oh, my kid is studying so much, I have to give and all. Now, if your mom is not doing that, then it is cool. Chill. I to wake up at 6:30. I start my class at 7. My mom comes and gives me at 9 anyway. I tell her, yeah, you don't worry. You sleep. I'm not a kid. I can handle it. Next thing, how to find the center of mass. I'll just redraw the diagram for convenience. Let me name these points, okay? Let this be A, B, C. The center of mass is somewhere here, O. Drop a perpendicular. Let this be D. Okay? Now I'll just make this guy straight so that it is easy to see. So what are the points again? Where is the center of mass? If this 0, 0, this center of mass is L by 2, 0. This center of mass is 0, L by 2. So these two ka midpoint is the center of mass. Agreed with this point? That is how you find center of mass. Na? Center of mass of each rod ka center of mass will give you the center of mass. That will be L by 4, L by 4. So this point was A. This angle was theta, so means this angle was theta. Drop a perpendicular, this point was D. And if you look at the distances, this was L by 4, this was 3L by 4, this was L by 4. So if I draw a triangle AOD, this would be L by 4, this would be 3L by 4, and this would be theta. So tan theta would be 1 by 3. Figure out what I just did now. I just rotated it a little. We changed our orientation so that it becomes easy to see. So the center of mass should lie somewhere here. So if I take B as origin and BC as x-axis and AB as y-axis, this is what I did, x and y-axis. The center of mass should be on this line. Check out the diagram. Clear with this? Any doubts? So if you say it is all about locating the center of mass, you might have thought center of mass the chapter is over, but this is how we use it. Center of mass will keep coming. Everything London physics will keep popping up. Right? That is the best thing and the bad thing about the subject. It is the best thing because your entire syllabus is always revised. Unlike your maths, bio, or chem, where you can forget a single chapter. If you forget a single chapter, you will be reminded it somehow. But that is also a bad thing. Your entire syllabus, right? You have to be thorough with it. You messed up one chapter, that is going to affect some other chapter. So now, the persons who are studying regularly, for them, it is a big advantage. For people who want to chill out a lot and don't want to revise properly, you will be eliminated. Survival of the fittest. Copied. Next one. Next one. So these are some problems based on center of mass. Next thing. Particle is projected with u and theta. If you see that every week ka portion, I added one old chapter also. So particle is lying here. This point of projection is O. Particle ka mass is m. Particle m is projected with u and theta. Find the torque about a when it is at h max. So when the particle is at h max, when the particle is landing on the ground, at any time t. 3 different questions. Meaning when it is at the highest point, when it is landing at any random time, find the torque of the particle about O. Find the when it is at O. This thing you have to find torque due to mg. Find the torque due to mg about the point of projection when it is at h max, when it is at the reaching the ground, when it is at any time. Again, I'll repeat the question. A particle is projected with u and theta. Mg is acting on it. Find the torque due to mg when it is at h max, when it is landing on the ground, when it is at any time. 3 questions. Get them. I'll give you 3 minutes. This is not based on center of mass. This is a regular question again. Any doubts, ask me if you didn't understand the question. Clear. What about the first one? Next thing. Let me show you how to do this thing. How many forces are acting? Anyone?
One.
Only one force, na, mg. So at the h max, mg is there. What is the perpendicular distance? Extend the force. Drop a perpendicular. Can someone tell me how much is this perpendicular distance? R by 2. Half of the range, na? Remember, h max will be at the midpoint. So what is the torque about O? mg perpendicular distance r by 2 direction minus k cap. Because in mg will rotate this way. It's a clockwise. What is r? U square sine 2 theta by g. Hope you didn't forget the formulas. So when the particle is landing on the ground, meaning somewhere here, this would be the perpendicular distance. This perpendicular distance is r. The torque about O would be mg r minus k cap. Put it up. Third one, see. You said any time t, na? So any time t, let the coordinates be x comma y. Hope you guys remember how to find x and y. Can someone tell me what is x at any time t?
U cos theta.
Into time. What is y coordinate? U sine theta t minus half gt square. Extend the vector, drop the perpendicular. So what is the perpendicular distance here? X now. So torque about O would be mg x, which is u cos theta t into minus k cap. That's it. So when it's as a function of time, it looks dangerous, but it's not much. Again, if you don't know your projectile motion curve results, you're gone. But trust me when I say that, when you keep revising your chapters and when you keep doing things like this, right, your physics becomes quite strong actually. End में you see the benefit in the end. Let's say you have 1 month before the exam, right? And if you're studying, let's say every day 8 hours you're studying. If you're a PCB or PCM, whatever it is, right? For physics, if you give 1.5 hours, or you know, I see people who do revision with 1 hour also. You can give physics 2 hours and 3 hours also, chemistry or maths or bio. Physics, even if you give 1 hour, it is still sufficient. It takes very less time. By all that, I tell my students myself, you know, there are kids who study 12 hours during revision. They have nothing every day holiday. They should do 2 hours physics, 5 hours maths, 5 hours chemistry. Physics is that one subject, you know, with, like I tell you every time, with 100 questions, we can revise the full syllabus. You can't do that in maths, you can't do that in chem and bio. Clear with this thing. Next one. Toppling. So what is this toppling? Now, if you consider a block, there is no force. This is what we actually observe. The weight is acting from the center. This normal reaction which we talk about, it is not at a single place. This N is everywhere. Because what is normal reaction? N is the force due to being in contact. But what we do, we always draw the average. Just for our convenience, actually. Who will draw so many lines? So for convenience, we will draw N is in the center. So the actually thing, what happens? The normal force is acting at every point on the contact. At every point of contact. So while drawing an FBD, we draw an average. So normally that's what we are doing till now. We always consider it to be a particle, so it never bothered. But what happens if there is a force? So let's say you're applying force F here. Now things change. You'll observe like this. There is more force on the right side compared to the left hand side. For example, you're sitting there right now. Just try to lean right side. If you lean to the right side, you'll observe your weight is shifting to the right thigh, isn't it? Or if you shift to the left side, if you observe, think about when you're sitting now, you try to do this, you bend on one side, you will see your weight is shifting to the right hand side, isn't it? All your force is coming to the right side. So the N is shifting now. When you're sitting straight, you know, it is equally balanced on both the sides. N is at the center. If you're shifting to the left, N is shifting to the left. You know, while you're climbing down the hill, all your weight is coming onto the toes. One of the reasons why you find it difficult actually to come down. You might topple. So this is what happens actually. So this mg is in the center. Your normal reaction is not in the center anymore. It will be somewhere here. So when force is applied, we observe the right half experiences more force. Therefore, end shifts to the right. To keep the body in equilibrium. Because see, if you take torque about the center, F is trying to rotate, N is trying to oppose. Can you see? So someone should come and stop the body from rotating. No? So shift to the right to keep the body in equilibrium. So this N, right, is an adjustable force. N ka magnitude will remain same, but N ka position can change. So when you're standing, if you're leaning right, left, or everything, your N will actually keep shifting in order to make sure you don't fall down. So this is one important thing. N is not always at the same position. N can change its position. So N can change its position. Put it now. Next thing. Turn the page. Now, if you keep increasing F, if F increases, N shifts more. And for a certain F, the body is on the edge. Meaning the body becomes like this. If you keep applying F at one point, right? Again, I'm just exaggerating the figure. It's very, it's almost touching the ground only. You can see the entire body stands on this edge. And this is how the forces will be. F, mg, normal reaction, friction. You're getting the entire body will be on the edge. You can do this thing like, for example, your water bottle is there, push it on the top. If you keep pushing, at one point, your water bottle will become like this. It is almost on the edge. Now, if you apply a little more, it just topples off. If F increases, body topples over. Body falls over the edge. This is called toppling. So meaning at that scenario, right, it becomes like totally like this. It starts going around. Meaning kind of like body started rolling. So this is what we call as toppling. Copy. On the page, everyone keep a cams on. So let's see how to do problems based on this. Now, how do you know that you have to do a problem based on toppling? The hint comes from here. The dimensions of the body will be given. Till now, did you observe? We never cared about the size of the block. So someone is applying F here. This is a mass M. Ground is rough. It's placed on rough surface. So the question is find maximum F so that the block does not topple, does not slip. You don't want it to topple, you don't want it to slip. Does not slip and topple. Does not topple. Meaning you don't want it to roll, you don't want it to fall. Like a water bottle, you know, if you apply a lot of force, bottle will slide. If you apply at the top, it will fall down. You don't want it to fall down, you don't want it to, you know, slip also. Force is applied at the highest point. Find the maximum force. Try. I'll give you a minute. Think about it. Help you? See. Remember, whenever you do these problems, right, always start like this. Assume an extreme case. What is the extreme case for FBD? That is, body is balanced on the edge. That is the extreme case, meaning little more and the body would have fallen. So this is how you draw the FBD. Again, I'm exaggerating the figure. That angle theta is 0 actually. There's no angle there. Meaning this is flat only, but I'm just showing a small gap there so that it is just standing there. So what are the forces? Normal reaction, friction, F, mg. Now, what about the perpendicular distances? I'm talking about center now. If I extend this perpendicular distance would be v by 2. If I extend this perpendicular distance is also v by 2. For n, this perpendicular distance is a by 2. Is it? Maybe I'll draw another diagram for that. These are the perpendicular distances. B by 2, B by 2, A by 2. And these are the perpendicular distances. Now, first thing, you don't want slipping now. No slipping. That means F should be equal to friction, which is less than equal to maximum. Agreed? If you apply a force less than maximum friction, you won't slip only. So F should be less than equal to mu mg. This is static friction. So the external friction is balancing the external force and the friction ka value is less than or equal to mu mg. You don't want any toppling. If you take torque about center of mass, you'll get torque about mg, torque due to N, torque due to friction, torque due to F. So mg ka torque is 0, N ka torque is how much? N into A by 2 plus K cap. F ka torque is F into B by 2 minus K cap. Friction into B by 2 minus K cap. And I know F is equal to F. So we end up with FB is NA by 2. And N is mg. So F is mg, A by 2b. Again, this is the maximum there. This is the equilibrium problem. Vertical force is N is mg, horizontal F is F. Put it down. I showed it on the next page. There's still a little more. We got two answers, so we have to see which one to take. Clear. Turn in the page. Now, what is the answer for this? We got f is less than equal to mu mg. This is for no slipping. And f is also less than equal to mg a by 2b. This is for no toppling. So you should take the minimum of both of them. Take the smaller one. I'll give an example. Let's say mu is half, a is half, and b is 1. Then we get f is less than equal to mg by 2. This is for no slipping. Meaning if the force is less than mg by 2, you won't slip. And if f is less than mg by 4, you won't topple. You don't want both to happen. So what will you take? You take the smaller one, no? For example, if you are, let's say, between them, what will happen? If you are, let's say, 0.4 mg, you will slip, but you won't topple. So answer should be less than mg by 4. So this is a condition for no toppling and no slipping. Because if you're greater than mg by 4, you will slip. Put it up. So among all these, torque problems, toppling problems are slightly tougher. But end of the story is same. Draw the FBD, write the forces. The only catch is FBD you should draw about the edge. Put it up. Copied. Next one. Turn the page. Theta. Same. Mu. This side is A and this side is B. Okay. So the question is, find mu if body slips. And does not topple. Right? Get this thing? Just give me a minute. I'll be back. Yeah. How to do this thing? See. All keep your cams on. First thing, free body diagram. What are the forces? Then we'll come almost to the edge. Friction, mg cos theta, mg sin theta. What are the perpendicular distances? This is a by 2. This is b by 2. So first thing, you want to slip. For slipping, mg sin theta should be greater than f max. Agreed? Which is mu mg cos theta. This will end in friction, angle of repose. So if tan theta, is greater than mu or mu is less than tan theta, you will slip. For no toppling, if you take torque about the center, you get torque due to mg sin theta, torque due to mg cos theta, torque due to friction, torque due to n, total should be 0. This guy is 0, this guy is 0. Both are passing through center of mass. N ka torque will be n into perpendicular distance a by 2. That's what is trying to keep you together. Plus friction into b by 2. Friction is the one who is trying to topple. N is how much? Mg cos theta. Friction would be mu mg cos theta. Minus minus will cancel. So mg cos theta will cancel. You end up with mu is a by b. This is again maximum. Matlab mu should be less than equal to a by b. So these are the two conditions. Which one will you take? Take the smaller one. So mu is less than tan theta. Mu is less than a by b. You have to take the smaller one. So for that, numbers will be given. Put it up. Yeah. Copy it. Clear? Turn in the page. Next. So that's about the toppling part. Next thing. So that is about the toppling. Next thing. Moment of inertia. What is this moment of inertia? So consider a body. Rotating about an axis. And consider a particle is going like this. This is Ri. This is Mi. It's rotating axis with angular acceleration alpha. So this is having an acceleration. Ai is Ri alpha. A is equal to R alpha na, from circular motion. So force on the ith particle is Mi into Ai, which is Mi Ri alpha. Then torque about I will be Ri Fi, which would be Mi Ri square alpha. The net torque would be sigma torque I, which will be sigma Mi Ri square alpha. So if you see, right, this term keeps popping up everywhere. The sigma Mi Ri square. We call this thing moment of inertia. So we write this as torque is equal to I alpha, where I is given by sigma Mi Ri square. Put it up. I'll show you what it is more in the next page. Copied. Clear. Next thing. Sorry guys, some disturbance. Huh? I think in my house 4 people tested positive. So I'm getting calls non-stop. And I moved back to my hometown. No? I came back to my hometown last week only. Mumbai, I think my wife is staying with her parents right now. I think the total 6 people, siblings 4, mom and dad. 4 people got tested positive. He's calling. Now people who are the number of people who are affected more than this thing, they're sending away the people who are not affected, and all nonsense is happening. Let's see. Things should get sorted out. All are healthy only, but I think they'll be quarantined or isolated now. Be careful till now, at least even in our class also, in other batches also, at least 6 to 7 people have got so far. Now it is spreading to everyone quite fast and very aggressively. Let's see. So what is this moment of inertia? This I, sigma mi ri square, this is for particles. I is integral dm r square. This is for continuous body. So what is this r here? R is not the position vector again. Remember this? This R is not a position vector. The first time you encountered this in work, F bar dot R bar. R bar is what? The displacement of the point of application of force. Second time you encountered in torque. Torque is R cross F. What is R bar? R bar is a vector from the axis to the point of where force is applied. Again, third time, what is R? Perpendicular distance. This is not position vector. Perpendicular distance from axis. So what is this I exactly? We get F is equal to ma, force is equal to mass into acceleration. This is for translation. Torque is equal to I alpha. If you can see, it's quite resemblance. This is for rotation, meaning force ka place mein torque you have, A ka place mein alpha you have, mass ka place mein I you have. So what this I tells you, so I is similar to mass. So basically, higher the value of I, more difficult to rotate the body. It's like, see, what is mass? More the mass, more difficult to translate. Na? A 100 kg block is more difficult than a 10 kg block to push. Similarly, a body with higher amount of inertia is more difficult to rotate. For example, see, when you're standing now, you have a water bottle with you. If you take a water bottle and keep it here and rotate, stretch your hand and rotate. You'll observe when you stretch your hand and rotate, it's more difficult. Your water bottle. But did you see the bottle ka mass did not change, but the distance changed, na? So this moment of inertia is such a quantity, which depends on the mass and the distance from the axis. So the farther the object, more difficult to rotate the object. Clear? Put it down. Copied. Next thing. So this mode of inertia, right? It behaves like a scalar. About a given axis. So if someone says, right, a body about moment of inertia is there, you can directly add it up, I1 plus I2 plus I3. It's not a vector thing, it's like a scalar only. Put it up. Let's say a question based on that. This is the axis of rotation. Distance d. 3D. So there are 3 particles like this with distance d, 2m, and 3m, 3D. Find moment of inertia. Any answers? See now. First one is what? M into d square. Second one is what? 2m into 2d whole square. Third is what? 3m into 3d whole square. That is a formula, na? I into the perpendicular distance. So this is 36 md square. Check it out. Next thing, Tanya which? Now there is something about this. Suppose if it had been given like this is m, d, this is 2m, 2d. This is 3m and 3d, right? Or if it is like this, m, d, 2m, 2d, 3m, 3d. It doesn't matter. For both of them, the answer is same. Can you see why? The perpendicular distance did not change. No? You keep it any way you want. It does not depend on the orientation. You keep it front, back, right, left. As long as you keep the perpendicular distance same, the moment of inertia is same. As long as the perpendicular distance from axis remains same, moment of inertia remains same. Independent of orientation. Put it up. Copied. Next. A particle of mass 2 kg. Is it 1 comma 2 comma 3? Find the moment of inertia. About x-axis, meaning if it is rotating about x-axis, y-axis, and z-axis. So you have a particle 2 kg at 1 comma 2 comma 3. It is rotating about x-axis, y-axis, and z-axis. 3 different questions. Then what is the moment of inertia? Others, keep your cams on. So first thing, tell me one thing. What is R again? R is not the distance from origin, perpendicular distance. So how do you find it? Listen carefully. Yeah, this is important. Perpendicular distance. This will again come in electrostatics and gravitation. If this is x-axis, y-axis, and z-axis. Okay, and let's say there's a point here, x comma y comma 0. This point is the origin. So if both the points are on the same, plane, this is the perpendicular distance. Agreed? That's your R perpendicular. How much? Root over x square plus y square. Now tell me one thing. If I move this parallel to z-axis, do you think this length will change? The perpendicular distance won't change. No? See, distance from origin will change, but I'm not interested in the distance from origin. The perpendicular distance would remain same. Does it make sense? Think about it. You're sitting in a room. Look at the corner of your room. You can see that corner ka line. Now, from your eye to the corner, there is some distance. Now, if you stand up, does that distance change? If you go up and down, the distance will remain same, no? The perpendicular distance from your eyes to the corner ka line page will keep changing. So the thing is, the perpendicular distance to the z-axis. So if someone asks you, find the perpendicular distance from z-axis, it depends only on x and y coordinate. So if this point coordinates are x comma y comma z, it doesn't matter. The distance is x square plus y square only. If you want perpendicular distance from y-axis, again the same story. Y coordinate won't matter. X square plus z square. So whichever axis you want, that coordinate you neglect. The perpendicular distance from x-axis, you neglect the x coordinate. Does this make sense? So whichever axis you want perpendicular distance, that coordinate won't come. So what is x square plus y square? Root 5. What is x square plus z square? Root 10. What is y square plus z square? Root 13. Yeah. Then what is moment of inertia about x-axis? Mass into perpendicular distance. 13. Iy mass perpendicular distance ka square 10. Iz mass perpendicular distance 5. That's your answer. Clear with this? The next thing. Turn in the page. So this is for particles. Now for continuous bodies, right? We will not be doing the derivations, but the results are important. So these results you have to mug it up, just like you did for center of mass. First thing is for the rods, uniform rods. Now the most important thing, right? In center of mass, now it used to be at a certain position, but when you talk moment of inertia, you should always ask me, sir, about which axis. So if you have a rod like this, and if you're rotating about the center, means x is 0, x is L by 2, and x is minus L by 2. The moment of inertia would be ml square by 12. Suppose the same rod, if you rotate about the edge, the moment of inertia would be ml square by 3. You know the meaning of this? Which is bigger, this or this? The second one, no?
Second one.
Meaning it is more difficult to catch the rod at the edge and rotate compared to catching at the center. Because higher the moment of inertia, more difficult to rotate the rod. Clear? If you call this point O, and if you call this point A, O, A. So this was IO and this was IA. You need to mug up these results. Right? Suppose if it was like this, you're getting how it is rotating? Like this. So you are catching the rod at an angle theta and you're rotating. This I would be ml square by 12 sine square theta. So you have a rod parallel to the axis. In this case, I would be md square. This reason, see, all are at same distance, na? D, 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 D. So what is the total distance? D only. Total mass is m. So m into d square. So these are the 4 cases for the rod. Put it on properly. This third one, C part. C part is a direct question in the exam. Huh? Options will be like this: ml square by 12 sine square theta, ml square by 12 cos square theta. So that will be a straightforward question. This is for the rods. These are the 4 results. Next thing. Turn the page. Next thing is for arc. So if you have an arc like this, so unlike center of mass, this is one good thing about moment of inertia. This is the axis, meaning side view will look like this. This is a top view, that is a side view. M and R, this is the side view. Same thing. The moment of inertia is mr square. Reason, what is the distance from here? R. Everyone is at the same distance R, na? Like I told you, it doesn't matter, like, you know, as long as the distance is same, I can treat them like a single particle. So moment of inertia for arc is mr square. And if I make theta 0, theta 2 pi, you get a circle. So I of a ring is also mr square. So it doesn't matter, arc or ring, you get the same answer.
Sir,
Alright.
can you show the previous page once? Done, sir.
So arc, ring, hollow cylinder, all three have same answer. I'll show hollow cylinder on the next page. Put it down. Turn the page. If you take a hollow cylinder, see, one important thing you need to observe here is what is the perpendicular distance. We're not actually interested in anything else. So if you take a hollow cylinder, mass m, radius r, what is the moment of inertia for hollow cylinder? About the central axis, mr square. So ring, arc, this thing is all same. Why? Look at this thing. Distance is r, na? No matter which point you take, aren't all the points at same distance? Hollow cylinder mein, perpendicular distance. Does it make sense? So as long as you keep the perpendicular distance same, you take an arc, a ring, or a hollow cylinder, all are same. Because see, hollow cylinder you can compress like this, na? It will become a ring. If you just close it, it will become a ring. So R will same. Okay, put down the shapes. So next class when we meet, we'll continue with more shapes. So this entire moment of inertia, right? There